Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ed Kilgore Show. Well, the big question a lot of Bills fans are asking around, and understandably so, is the Bills Super Bowl window closing? That is the question we'll address coming right up. Big thank you to Blue Tusk Tech and also to Global Wine and Spirits for being our sponsors, and we thank you very much. Of course, in theory, the task gets a little tougher when a big chunk of your salary cap budget goes to the one guy, and again, it's Joshua Patrick Allen in this case. Very valid question. The Chiefs, well, they're playing with house money right now. Patrick Mahomes won his first Super Bowl, still on his rookie deal, and then, much more impressively in my view, landed the daily double as he hobbled around. He wasn't even 100%, minus his top home run threat in Tyreek Hill. And he got his second Super Bowl after a big contract extension. Now, kudos to the Chiefs here. They dealt Hill, the most feared wide receiver in the NFL, because of his amazing speed and elusiveness. They sent him to the Dolphins for 5 draft picks, and they counted on some of these rookies playing a big role right away, and they let Hill go. The Dolphins gave Hill a 4-year, $120 million extension. Hill is so appreciative that he's now telling everybody that Tua Tagovailoa is the best quarterback he's ever played for. Well, what do you say about that, Patrick? The Bills, as we know, heading into their 6th season with Allen, despite a lot of regular season success and some postseason wins, still looking for that first Super Bowl appearance with Allen. Now, I, for one, am still dying on the hill that discounts the loss to the Bengals as a team meltdown that should not be overvalued as a barometer of the Bills' current talent makeup. I know we're going to soon find out. They play the Bengals later on in the season on the road, but I remain convinced that the Bills, if they stay even reasonably healthy and free of last year's drama, I think they're perfectly capable of again winning the AFC East division for a 4th year in a row, and they have a very realistic chance to reach and win a Super Bowl. Again, just for a moment here, I'd like to thank my sponsors and welcome a new one in, Global Vending Group. As always, thanks to Blue Tusk Tech in Orchard Park, great people, and McKinley Wines and Spirits in Hamburg near the McKinley Mall. So we continue. Allen is within 13 seconds, I know that hurts to say that, of winning 3 games in a row over Mahomes and the Chiefs in Arrowhead Stadium. No other quarterback has done it more than once. Allen has done it twice and should have been 3. Despite the loss to the Bengals, I still think the Chiefs are the team to beat in the Super Bowl race in the AFC. Bengals, now they've got to deal with their own deal with Joe Burrow. They're redoing his contract, and they have some decisions to make about who stays and who moves on. Jets and Dolphins fans are giddy right now thinking the Bills are vulnerable, but I think they might be celebrating a little bit too soon. When you break it down, luck and skill are kind of hand in hand when it comes to predicting success in any sport. Take Tom Brady, the GOAT, with no argument in my book. He couldn't even make his JV team in San Mateo, California, and that team was 0-7 and hadn't scored a point. But he blossomed late. He eventually made the team and had a pretty good high school career and was recruited fairly heavily. But he went to Michigan, had 2 good years, not spectacular. He wound up being drafted in the 6th round by the Patriots in 2000. Then that injury to Drew Bledsoe, which helped the Bills for about 5 minutes, it gave 6 Super Bowl wins to the Patriots then, and he got the first one in his 2nd season, and then all but spit in Bill Belichick's face by winning another one at Tampa Bay. I'm kind of joking, but a spit in the eye would have been less insulting. Belichick will never get over that. Now, it isn't fair to, or useful really, to make comparisons here, because right now Allen, in my mind, is every bit as good or better than Mahomes or Burrow. Brady, well, he stands alone, and boyhood hero Joe Montana is also on the podium right with him. Mahomes, I guess you have to give him a slight edge because he does, after all, have a couple of rings. That matters. It's interesting to look at some other situations. Now, the Jets, they're excited. They've got Aaron Rodgers, even though he'll turn 40 in December, but he's still playing at a high level. This is incredible to me. I looked this up. With the Packers in 2020 and 21, in those 2 seasons, in his late 30s, Rodgers threw for 85 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. That's unbelievable. Rodgers, despite his impressive stats, has just one Super Bowl win in 18 seasons. That season, by the way, 2011, the Packers were 10-6 and only made the playoffs as a wild card, but then they won 3 in a row on the road to beat the Steelers in Super Bowl 45. So again, just get in there, baby. One comparison that I think is interesting, maybe not fair because I know it's 2 different eras, but because they're so similar in size and skills, Allen and John Elway. Elway, big like Allen, mobile like Allen, has a cannon arm, easily in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Now his executive level track record hasn't matched his playing career, but that's another story. So Elway, first pick in the '83 draft, but it wasn't until his Denver career was almost over that he broke through. He won a Super Bowl 32, and then he won it the next year, and then he retired. Now, we can argue about how passing games have evolved, but if you look at the first 5 years comparing the two, Elway and Allen, there's no comparison. Elway, in his first 5 seasons, threw 92 touchdowns, but was intercepted 63 times, and he completed just over 50% of his passes. He had 7 rushing touchdowns, never more than 60 yards in the game, so he wasn't a ball carrier as much as his reputation. Now, Allen, in 5 years, remember, 92 touchdowns for Elway. Allen, 138 touchdown passing, and another 38 rushing. That's 176 touchdowns, almost double the output of Elway. Now, Allen hasn't reached the Super Bowl, but he's been better in the playoffs than a lot of people realize. He's 4-4. He has 17 touchdown passes, just 4 interceptions, and an overall record of 52-25 compared to Elway's 46-28-1. Now, Elway's career pass rating, 79.9. Allen's sitting at 92.2 right now. Jim Kelly was 84 for his career. Now, this is shaping up as a really interesting season, and the one I can remember since that at least means the most to me since they invented color television. You think I'm kidding? First time I saw a Major League Baseball game, I was 9 or 10 years old. I remember it was in St. Louis, and I was shocked how colorful everything was when we walked into the stadium, how green the grass was. The Cardinals had the red sleeves and socks and hats, and the outfield wall was dark green, and the foul poles were yellow, and I'd always watch the games in black and white. It was astonishing to me what a difference it looked like in person. But anyway, back to the Bills. I'm all in with GM Brandon Beane and head coach Sean McDermott, although the reaction to the Diggs AWOL story, interesting. Allen has criticized the media for blowing the Diggs story out of proportion, and I tend to agree with him for the most part. It was a hot topic there and gets a lot of clicks and views. But I have to say, the way McDermott handled the situation puzzled me. I fully think he was sincere when he said he was very concerned that Diggs wasn't at the voluntary workout. But by the next day, that had changed to, I gave him the rest of the day off. He was excused by me. Well, it's obvious Diggs and McDermott had a conversation before practice. It just didn't go very well. Allen actually said on another podcast that McDermott told Diggs to go home. So why did McDermott just say that? The sudden walk back was confusing, although here's the silver lining. I'm always the optimist. I think it's a sign that McDermott is large and in charge if it's true that he told a superstar receiver to go home and cool off, and that's what Diggs did, and he hasn't said anything negative since. Bottom line, Diggs, we know the guy he is. He's an emotional competitor, a key part of the Bills' Super Bowl aspirations. He's a freaking awesome player. Allen is not going to let this be a problem. Now, in the offseason, the Bills have given Allen some help and some draft picks and rookies. They're going to have to make instant contributions just the same way the Chiefs did. The Jets are going to be better. The Dolphins will be better if Tua stays healthy. And the Patriots, hey, they're not going to be an easy out. It's a tough schedule for the Bills, especially over the latter third. But this is no time for naysayers or pessimists. You're badly outnumbered. I think it's going to be a great year. Again, my thanks to sponsors Blue Tusk Tech in Orchard Park, McKinley Wines and Spirits in Hamburg, and our new sponsor, Global Vending Group. I'll have more information for you on them next time. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.